Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming back to the newest episode of our show, The Business Blueprint. Tonight we have episode 39, and this is a special episode. Not only do I have amazing friends that I bring in to teach you different objectives, different ideas from entrepreneurs, but this guy right here, this is a special near and dear to my heart, as you can see, but we'll go through. But tonight we have Trevor Ford, CEO of Ignite Enterprise. Trev, say hello to the people before we get started.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time. Time is money. Time is precious. So I do appreciate anybody that comes out and kind of hears what you professional people have to say about anything. So thank you for your time. Thank you, Quentin, for the platform.
I appreciate you joining us, and I appreciate everybody for watching tonight. Again, this is a live episode, so feel free to put anything in the chat. For those that don't know me, I'm Quentin McDougald. I'm the CEO and founder of Nothing But Web and the Nothing But Web Entrepreneur Network. This is the Business Blueprint. This is our special live show that we have every third Wednesday of the month. And on this show, I bring different entrepreneurs in to teach entrepreneurs special skills with my special set of friends. So tonight is no different. Tonight we have Trevor Ford, and he's teaching all entrepreneurs how to plan and execute the perfect event. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, I always start to show my personal connection that I have with my different guests. So not only is he the CEO and founder of Ignite Enterprises, he's also the president of the Bloomfield Junior Warhawks. And I'm a VP of business operations, so we work very closely. Trevor and I right here, we have more than a personal relationship because every morning, 6 a.m., we're on a call planning and strategizing. He is the founder or co-founder of the Jubilee event, which you'll talk about coming in June. He is the founder of Intellectual Foreplay, which you'll talk and discuss about. He's also the founder and co-founder, I would say, Trev, co-founder of the Sigma Boat Crew. So he'll talk about his experience throwing different events with Sigma. This brother right here comes near and dear to my heart. We plan, we execute, we work as a tandem, we work as a team, and we get a lot of things done. So for him to take his time out is more than a pleasure because I know what he does behind the scenes. And for those that are in here, this is a special surprise for you. He has everything, and he'll reveal some of the secrets to you tonight. So without further ado, this is episode 39, How to Plan and Execute the Perfect Event with Trevor Ford. So Trevor, thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, man. Wow. Thank you for having me. Love that intro. You did your homework. But yeah, I just to piggyback off that introduction, and allow me to introduce myself again. My name is Trevor Ford. I am first and foremost a man of God. I am a family man. Shout out to my wife and my children. My mom, looks like my mom just tapped on. So I get a lot of my public speaking and my ability to network with a lot of different people from my mother. She made sure at an early age I was writing speeches, and I'm gonna talk about writing and the importance of that at an early age and being able to present it in front of people. And that's another important aspect that I'm going to be able to talk about later today. I grew up in combination of Hartford and Bloomfield, matriculated at Weaver High School. So all my Weaver Beavers watching, shout out to you. I'm a part of that class, special class of 2000 state championship Weaver football team. I continued my academic career at Southern Connecticut State University, which is kind of where I blossomed into the programmer and student leader. You know, I attribute Southern to a lot of my maturation when it comes to just being a little bit more polished as a professional, as a speaker, and as somebody that is an advocate for community work. I am also an athlete, so my natural competitive nature is extremely important when it comes to planning events, right? So, you know, the totality of my background really speaks to why I'm able to do a lot of the things that I'm able to do, beginning with organizing different events and being a part of different networks. So while at Southern, the first program that I became a part of was called Programs Council. Programs Council was an organization at Southern that was responsible for organizing internal community events at the campus, off-campus activities, and some fun activities for the students to come together, blow some steam, have a good time, all in the spirit of camaraderie, and just being a student at a PWI in the middle of a small town like city like New Haven. It's a commuter school, so we had to do something on campus for the students. That led to an opportunity to me to grow into my leadership role as a Black Student Union president on BSU. And there we addressed you know issues and circumstances for us by us, right? People of color at a campus looking to do a lot of different activities. So that Black Student Union across the state or anywhere else. All right. So yeah, Men About Business. That was a legacy that I wanted to leave at Southern Connecticut State University. I really wanted to be a part of. You know what I mean? So I left a legacy for some young men at the Southern Connecticut State University, and it was definitely an opportunity to learn and grow more about myself. And that led to joining Phi Beta Sigma, right? One of the greatest fraternities in the world. And man, I could talk all day about my fraternity and what it meant to me really fine tuning my ability to um, do premier events and to network with a lot of different individuals so that I could have the opportunity to stand before you guys and as an expert in community events and planning events, marketing and promotion. Uh, Postgraduate, I did a lot of stuff with NAACP, my church, and a lot of other organizations throughout the state of Connecticut and in the city of Hartford. Um, Being an entrepreneur and having an entrepreneurial mind that led me to founding my own company, Ignite Enterprise. And when you get to know me more, you'll understand what the term Ignite means and how it speaks to event planning and how it speaks to my personality. I do believe that if I'm a part of anything, any organization, any club, any program, any community event, it's just going to blow up, because of my work ethic, my drive, and my ability to do certain things. Through Ignite, I do events, I do photography, I do podcasting, and I launched a series of events called Intellectual Foreplay, which is a safe place for young professionals, entrepreneurs, men and women to come together and just talk about community controversial topics. Long before the big wave of social media, podcasting, and all the things you're seeing now, I was doing that a long, long time ago. And all that stuff stemmed from, as early as the Black Student Union meetings and the early ages of social media. I kind of, in so many ways, in my opinion, pioneered that a lot of those type of conversations locally. And here we are now, standing before you as the president of the Junior Warhawks, somebody that has never led a Pop Warner organization, but always had the skill set to lead people, to organize information, to be able to look at a situation, analyze it, and make it greater than what it was. So that is my introduction. It was very long, but I needed everybody to understand how I can confidently say that I'm an expert event planner with 10,000 documented hours, 20 years of experience dating back to when I was 20 years old in college. You know what I mean? So I'll pause right there if anybody has any questions about just who I am. If anybody wants to ask me anything specific about my background, if not, I could jump right into the presentation.
The chat is clear. You're all set. Go ahead.
All right, all right. So Quentin asked me to come on the show and see if I could present you guys with some information in regards to event planning. I gave you my background, but I'm gonna go a little deeper into like how and why I got into event planning. I think those two questions are extremely important, especially for yourself, because some of you guys have ideas and you've been sitting on them for a long time, and you're asking yourself, well, when can I do this? And why do I want to do this? How do I get to do this? Well, I know for me, being a student at Southern, at the tail end of my athletic career, I was sitting in my room and it's just like, well, football is over. What do I do with my time? I have so many different ideas. I have so many different things that I want to accomplish. What's next? And everybody always likes to wait for somebody to initiate something. For example, Southern, they didn't have parties, they didn't have a lot of opportunities for collegians to come together socially. So, some of the things I would think about is what ways can we bring different ideas to the campus, different concerts, different fashion shows, or different other social networks to the organizations and to the people at Southern, who was the audience, so that we could become more social. And if I would have sat until I graduated to wait for someone else to do something, we'd have been twirling our thumbs for quite some time. You know, you go to other different campuses and like Eastern, the males at Eastern, and you know, my one of my frat brothers, Eminent Entertainment, and Ty Richardson at Central, and you go to WestCon, and their BSU was very active, and they had a lot of spring concerts, and I always just felt like Southern was always a little step behind some of these other schools socially. So I wanted to do something about it. You know, I was inspired by many senior leaders that were at Southern. I was inspired by a lot of different people that mentored me while I was a young freshman, sophomore, sitting on different executive boards, learning the ropes and just watching. But it came to the point where you just get sick and tired of waiting for other people, or if you have an idea yourself and people kind of just pushing it off and just say, yeah, not right now. This is not the right time. Oh, you're not ready. Kind of just saying, you know what, let me grab the ball myself and just make people believe in what I got going on. So I joined a lot of social networks, and that's important. I'm going to talk about why that's important for individuals that do have ideas and have no place where they don't know where to exactly begin. But when you have ideas, and if you have a vision to do something, you have to have a network of people that will also invest in your ideas, and that you could speak to these situations, and they could kind of provide you insight and definitely give you a little bit more than what you probably originally went into it with. And finally, writing a business plan um, that got approved by my school um, let me know that write the vision and make it plain. You know, that was the first opportunity and the first time I've ever seen something that I've written manifest into something that's real. And I took my business courses extremely serious. I used to dress like this, shirt and tie, every Monday and Wednesday, making it our Men About Business dress up days so that I could be taken a little serious and be received different. Some of my favorite subjects were marketing and promotions, and not so much math, but marketing. I always got A's in. Communications, I always got A's in. Anytime I had to stand before and do a presentation, I would knock it out the water. And there are times the teachers were very thoroughly impressed with how I delivered information. So when you get to see something come to life after something you've written, um, it inspires you to keep going and to continue down the path of exploring your creative ability. All right. So that's kind of how I got into event planning way back 20 some odd years ago on the campus of Southern Connecticut State University. And I haven't stopped then because it essentially became a part of who I was. And it's a driving force of my personality. I know everybody has seen me say, well, I'm going to retire from this and that. And but you know, event planning is deeply rooted in my personality to the point where um, it, it's just a part of my DNA. When as soon as I get an idea, it's like an addiction that I have to see it through. You know what I mean? So, um, does anybody have any questions on that regard, Q? We'll go on to the next slide.
So on YouTube, one question was, what was one of the difficulties you had starting at Southern when you had everybody else at other campuses going on? So what was one thing that was most difficult for you?
I think the rules, Southern's rules were a little bit challenging because you can go to Eastern, right? And Eastern is just open to the public where you could have social events and people come on campus. Same thing with schools like UNH, Yale, UConn. Southern was a little bit more closed. I guess maybe a little bit more high alert when it came to security. So the challenges with that presented um, me with issues in regards to actual physical things I wanted to do on campus. Um, Having patience, like I'm a very impatient person, but patience is something I'm also going to talk about. Um, I don't like to be told no. Like the more you tell me no, the more I put my foot on the gas and try to prove you wrong. Right there, the challenges with Southern led me to explore other campuses, and I'll give you an example before I start the presentation. Just like I said, you couldn't organize out of state or not out of state our on campus activities that include the general community. So I went to Western and I networked with a group of people, the Black Student Union out there, and I threw a party at Western on behalf of some of my organizations. And you know, it took a lot of creative thinking, but I was able to generate income at another campus and convince people to take that 45-minute drive all the way to Danbury. And back when we didn't have Facebook and we didn't have, it was just beating the streets with flyers and knowing who you know, and networking with the right people. Um, I was able to network with the right people out there, establish a connection with that faculty and administration. They bought into the vision, and I was able to do something on a completely different campus, and it was successful. And you know, I just never created excuses. So regardless of the rules and regulations, there's always a way to execute a vision. There's always gray areas between the black and white, and there's always a way to explore and push past any resistance. So I hope that answers that question. But that was something that was challenging that I had to do it. All right. So Q, he specifically wanted me to talk about a couple different things. Those three bullet points being how to define your purpose and your audience for an event. So that was the question. Another bullet point was how to create a detailed plan for success. That's probably one of the stronger bullet points. And then how to build it. People get scared of the building process, but you'll find that it's really not that hard. And once I break it down. All right. So the first slide and the first important aspect of the conversation is the idea, is the purpose, it's the drive, it's who you're targeting, right? I think in the Black community, you'll notice a difference between foreigners coming into the Black community with an idea and being willing to execute and implement an idea and walk away with $1 million. Where we'll have ideas and we'll have different events and we'll have different products that we want to sell. It's more connected to your personal vision as opposed to speaking to the target audience. I believe there's a market literally for everything. There's a group of people that are interested in something, and you have to be able to tap into those individual people that could speak to the vision that you're trying to create, right? So ignite is an explosion, is a spark. It's something that I developed based off a dream. Um, every vision and everything that comes with event planning starts with an idea, right? How do you define your purpose through this dream? You have to dare to be different. You cannot be afraid to think outside the box. You cannot be afraid to push past boundaries, and you have to push past the no's, and you have to push past, oh, well, the people aren't going to like this. And you have to push past everybody that's in your ear talking to you about why something is not going to work, right? We all see it all the time. You've probably experienced that level of anxiety. You've probably experienced situations where you've been sitting on something and you don't execute it, but a year later you see somebody else do it and it's extremely successful. Now you're kicking yourself because, like, damn, you had the idea first, but you talked yourself out of bounds. You talked yourself out of running away with an opportunity that somebody valued and believed in a little bit more than you do, right? So there's always a target audience. So I don't want anybody to say, well, we live in Connecticut and we don't have blah blah blah. We don't have this type of people, and these type of people aren't interested in this, and nobody wants to grow, and nobody wants to make money, and that's just all. It's not true, because there's thousands of businesses in Connecticut that are doing extremely well. There's a lot of promoters that have been doing similar events in the same programs for years to come, and they're doing pretty well. And it's because they never gave up on what it is that they started. Um, Dream Chaser #1. Shout out to Abdul. When I took his workshop and I was trying to learn and develop how to be a more polished event planner, that was his thing. Never stop dreaming. Literally, that's a quote from Brother Abdul. Literally, never stop dreaming. Never take your eyes off the mission, because the mission will lead you to the people. And as long as you're serving, the people will come. As long as you are providing good product, the people will recognize the good product. As long as you are believing in what you're selling, the people are going to believe in what you're selling. But if you're starting out something and you don't believe it's going to work, it's going to seep into your energy, and it's going to definitely manifest into the people. And some of my other bullet points on that is never settle. All right. Q will tell you till he's blue in the face that Trevor Ford, when he has an idea, he's going to see it through. And he don't give a damn who says what about it. And he could try to talk me off the mountain sometimes, but he's gonna shoot with me in the gym. And I'm a bull. I'm a million miles forward when I have something that I've manifested on, because I've fallen in love with the dream. I've fallen in love with the passion and the ability to do a specific thing. So if your purpose is not that strong and your purpose is not that rooted into something you want to execute, you're never going to do it. You're never going to accomplish it. And sometimes dreams take time. Sometimes you have to sit on that. Sometimes you have to sleep on it. Sometimes you have to wake up and revisit ideas and talk and manifest it, manifest it, manifest it. I know we hear a lot of motivational speakers, and sometimes some people are church folks, and we talk about faith and we talk about doing certain things. But I'm telling you, the greatest people have the wildest ideas and confidence that is through the roof. I'm gonna give you an example. You guys might not like this name, but I'm still gonna say it and speak on it because I watched a documentary on Kanye West, right? And it's on Netflix. It's probably one of the best documentaries I've seen on a musician ever. Kanye West is crazy when it comes to his ideas and who he believes he is. And he's so crazy and he has so much confidence in who he is. He walked in radio station to record producer with a backpack, hopes and dreams, saying that he was the best at what he believed he was the best at. And years later, he was a multimillionaire, a billionaire at one point, not necessarily on his rocks all the time, but he had a wild idea and he dared to be different. He didn't mind being different. He didn't mind speaking confidently about himself and his ability to do certain things. So I'm challenging you all to have the same type of confidence. If you kind of feel like you want to do something and you're not really sure, you're not really standing on it, it's something that you have to check within yourself so that you can believe what you're trying to do will identify with the people and the purpose. Because I promise you, I've been a part of a lot of different businesses, a lot of different opportunities, and I can stand before somebody. And by the time I leave them, they're going to know I was 100% on what I stood on. And they're going to know that I felt very strongly about what I presented because I'm going to understand the research. I'm going to understand the audience. I'm going to understand the profit. I'm going to understand the market. And I'm going to understand that I know I can see this thing through, even if I have to carry the weight myself. You're going to believe that. All right. So that is how you get with your purpose. And that is how you identify, specific audiences because there's always an audience and there's always going to be a target and don't tell yourself any different. All right. So does anybody have any questions about your purpose and your audience?
You're good to go.
All right. The planning piece. All right. So this is going to be a little bit more educational as far as the actual to do. Right. So the first one was a little bit more motivational, just believe in yourself. The second one is write. You have to write. There isn't any business loan, grant, scholarship, enrollment idea, or anything that you want to implement that does not involve writing. So, in its simplest form, I'm going to give you a 5-minute breakdown on how to write a proposal. And a proposal is simply a way to organize all the scrambling that's going on in your head, all the different ideas that you've been thinking about, things that you firmly believe in, things that you've manifested on, things that you slept on. So writing a proposal looks something like this. I always start a proposal with an introduction, like I'm having a casual conversation with somebody and telling them, "Hey, look, I want to plan a roller skating party. I believe that the town of Bloomfield should use the space they have available, open it up, make it a roller skating ring, and we want to do X, Y, and Z." And you're kind of selling them on the concept of the bigger vision. You don't want it to be too long. You don't want it to be too short because again, people really just like quick hitters when they're assessing something. But you do want to be able to articulate in a small paragraph what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Then you want to identify your target audience. You want to be very specific about the demographic of people you are trying to attract here, down to age, color, geographical location. Because at the end of the day, you have to be able to speak the language of the people that you're trying to promote to and to market to. Logistics matter. You got to be able to answer the question who, what, where, when, why, how. All right. Where is this going to take place? How much is it going to cost? What time does it start? Where is the event going to be? Who's hosting it? Right. So you want to be able to answer who, what, where, when, why, how. And that is your logistical aspect of the written verbiage of your proposal. So again, we start with our introduction, we illustrate our target audience, and then we talk about our logistics, which are simple bullet points about the date, time, price, location, etc. The meat and potatoes of any business plan, and this is what people want to typically usually skip to. Hey, how much is this costing me? If I'm an investor, what's the bottom dollar? How much are we going to make in profit? What's that about? How much do our expenses? So your budget has to be extremely detailed, and I'm talking about to the coin. You could do a prospectus, and if you don't know what a prospectus is, it is just a detailed future outline of how much you could possibly make and how compared to what you're spending, right? But your budget should be detailed with receipts and invoices and documentation to support how much to the dollar you are spending on this event, so you know how much you have to charge for an event, right? Because we're not in the business of losing money. We're not in the business of breaking even unless we're in survival mode. And we definitely aren't even talking about losing money, because who wants to lose money? Nobody wants to lose money, especially not investors. So your budget has to be extremely detailed. And each one of these 5 bullet points that I'm giving you, I could have a class on each and every one of them because they're that important. But for the sake of time, um, outline these bullet points: introduction, target audience, logistics, budget. This is another important one: milestones. Why are milestones important, Quentin? Because when you're running an organization or you're trying to manage an event, you're going to have to do things in a scripted, timely manner. There's a pecking order to everything that you're trying to accomplish, so that you're meeting specific demands, you're meeting specific deadlines, you're making sure you have specific funds at a specific amount of time. If you're running out of time, you need to know, hey, look, I need to organize a specific sale so that I can recoup some funds that I lost. Or I need to make sure I'm doing certain things at a specific time so that by the time it's go live or the event is kicking off or we're about to go on to a different phase, we've checked every box. A lot of people screw that part up with the milestones because people get stuck on not writing and not organizing their information, and they're just trying to rely on their head, or they were trying to rely on their cell phone. You have to go old school. You have to have a checklist. You have to write it down, and you have to put dates. You have to put statuses on so that you could update yourself. You could update your team, and it's always in your face every morning what you have to do, so that every day you're doing something to hit that goal. Anybody that has ever worked with me knows I'm notorious for milestones, and I'm very, very relentless when it comes to sticking to the script and making sure we're attacking certain goals at specific times. I really hate being behind on my milestones, but it's something that it'll keep you organized, and it's something that is needed a part of any detailed plan. And most importantly, I typically like to start with the conclusion, because I like to see what the end game looks like. So if I'm talking to Quentin or Rashaya or anybody that I've done business with about an idea that I'm having, I'm like, hey, look, guys, I want to do this. I want the conclusion to be this. I want everybody to feel this experience. I want everybody to have blah, 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 and have the totality of the understanding be a specific thing, right? Because I can sell you on an intro and I can sell you on the conclusion to the point where nobody even cares about the target audience, the logistics, the money, and the milestones, because they're so in love with the idea. They're so in love with how it's going to make them feel and other people feel, that everything in between becomes, okay, let's just figure it out. And the let's just figure it out is the meat and potatoes of the work, right? So we talked about the proposal. So again, write that down: introduction, target audience, logistics, budget, milestones, goal/conclusion. All right. After you've written your plan, you have to analyze it. You have to look back, you have to research it, you have to make sure everything that you're trying to accomplish is in line with what's happening. Do I want to plan a flag football game outside in December? No, that doesn't make sense. right? You want to cross-reference a lot of basic information when it comes to event planning. You know, you run the risk of, if you're having an outdoor event, what happens if it rains? If it's wintertime and there's a blizzard, do people really want to wear short cocktail dresses and it's negative 10 degrees outside? So, you know, all these different aspects have to be analyzed, researched, back documented by data, and supported by the team. And if need be, revise, go back to the drawing board, revamp, and rewrite your proposal. It is okay before you execute something to say, hey, look, I'm going down this path. It's kind of not working. I don't want to be too stubborn, and I need to tweak a couple things. That is okay. That is not you being scared. That is not you backing away from your mission or your purpose or your audience. It's just being present in the moment and being in tune with the climate of, you know, society and what's actually happening in real time with your event, right? And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to have honest teammates. You have to have an honest conscience to recognize when you have to pivot. If you're pivoting too much, you might not have the right idea. You might not have the right blueprint. You know what I mean? So it's okay to make auto corrections, and it's okay to go back to the drawing board from time to time. You know, everybody that's great at something has retweaked it and has revisited the original mission and worked it so that it's favorable. Prepare, study, set milestones, and make sure you invest in yourself. Part of any plan requires an initial investment. If you don't have any capital, you got to find the capital. There's always money to do something. And if you believe in something so much, you have to have the desire to do the things you don't want to do to generate the income you need to execute the overall vision. And I'm not going to spend too much time on the investment piece. It's an important piece, but I've done things with nothing, literally. I've planned events with literally no money. And my strategy has always been to use other people's money to help with startup costs and to help keep things going. All right, so that's a lot of information. It's heavy. Does anybody have any questions before I go on to the last slide?
So one question for you was, how do you execute your plan with limited funds? I know you mentioned about using other people's money. Explain on that a little bit.
All right, Quentin, before I talk about the Junior Warhawks organization that we're both a part of, how much money did we start out with? Negative 3,000 something dollars, right? And here we are, 8 teams, plenty of money in the account, servicing over 200 people. You know, we had a vision that was created by, you know, a man by the name of James Jenkins, and you know, we developed a great committee and we developed a great strategy. We marched down to the town of Bloomfield and we presented our case. You know, that's not an event, but um, in regards to an event, I'll keep it very simple and generic. So ticket prices are always ticket prices. Let's just say I'm hosting a party. I know I have to pay a DJ $500. I know I'm going to have food that's going to cost me about $500. I know I have to spend money on marketing and promotion that's going to cost me $250. And I know I have to put a deposit down on the venue that's going to cost me $250. So I'm already at about what, $2,000 or something like that. Forgive my math. I wasn't doing the numbers, but let's just say I'm already in the red, $2,000, but I don't have that money. Let's just say the idea I believe is so good. The first week I'm going to sell 100 tickets at $20. And that week I sell 100 tickets at $20. There's my seed money. I didn't come out of my pocket. Now I could send my deposits out to the venue. I could send my deposits to the DJ. I could pay for my marketing material and do everything like that. I always believe in using other people's money to host events. There's been times where I've been in a red $20,000 for an event that I believe could make 50, you know? That's a pretty daring risk, and it's not sexy to a lot of people. But again, that just goes back to, who are you? What type of person are you? Do you believe that much confidence in yourself to be able to take those type of risks? And I'll bet on me every day of the week. You know what I mean? So it depends on what. That's a tricky question, but very simple to execute if you understand what it is, if you understand what you're trying to do, and you're able to absorb the possibility that this might not work out. But again, being fearless and being aggressive in that regard, there's always ways to use other people's funds to especially plan an event. That is a good question. And when you don't know, and when in doubt, if your idea is grand there are people and there are businesses that will invest in you and they will be willing to be a sponsor. And that's assuming, you have your documentation in order, you're a 501c3 or your LLC. All those different things come into the aspects of people cutting checks and wanting to do certain things for you. Hope that answered your question.
Yep. All right. You're all set. Keep going.
All right. The final bullet point that I want to talk about is how to focus on engagement and the overall experience. So when I hear the word engagement, it makes me feel like, how do you build? How do you build the project? To me, building the project is the easiest part, because if I am a, let's see, a cook, my passion is cooking. My passion is not event planning. So what you have to do is build a team. Build a team. Get you a group of people that are subject matter experts in every aspect of what it is you're trying to accomplish, right? The easier it becomes when you have the right team. And again, bringing it back to our current organization, the Junior Warhawks that I'm in, whether it's Phi Beta Sigma, Bloomfield Junior Warhawks, Men About Business, NAACP, my church youth ministry, every aspect, the first thing I wanted to accomplish as a leader of whatever organization is who can I put on my side to help march and walk with me to help build this event that I'm trying to execute. Because I'm a visionary. I know a Rashea Shand is brilliant when it comes to accounting. I know a Quentin McDougald is brilliant when it comes to public speaking and being a salesman and marketing and promotions. You know what I mean? I know Lydia Ford is brilliant at teaching and being a minister to information. You know what I mean? So there's different things that you can do in regards to inspiring other people to be a part of your vision so that you're pushing the agenda forward. I remember when I took over the Junior Warhawks, I was seeking advice and counsel because I knew nothing about running a youth football organization. All I know is organizational management. I know how to do events and I know I have the skill set to learn and the skill set to make things happen. And one thing that somebody told me, talking to an expert in the field, and he said, Trev, get you a group of women that is going to push the mission forward, because young women have the ability to believe in something that you have, and they're going to legit do the work professionally. They're going to be relentless and they're going to support you. All right. And I'm specific to young women because every successful event, every successful project I've ever had, the majority of that executive board was women. Women, in my personal opinion, have an amazing ability to organize information, amazing ability to be professional and to get into doors and spaces that, may be a little bit more hardcore for males to enter. The approach is softer, the organizational piece is a lot more detailed. Women ask challenging questions. Like, they will make sure that they understand what the heck I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to communicate, and they will definitely hold me accountable. My brother Quentin, he's a writer. He's a firecracker like me. So if I have an idea, like, Trev, let's do it, boom, boom, boom. But then he's like, well, we got to run it by the ladies. So we got to get their point. We got to get their take. And then he slows me down and he makes me realize, yep, bring it back to the team. And let's just see how we can march this thing together. But that's a personal preference. Not just going to make it about gender or anything like that. But in my opinion, you have to have the right team. And I believe that running a marathon with a group of women that are qualified, that are subject matter experts to build the mission is definitely something that I will stand on. The proof has been in the pudding. I talked about the importance of working your milestones and being tedious and relentless in that regard. You don't want to ever get behind on projects, because at the moment you do, you're going to get frustrated and you're going to get overwhelmed trying to catch up. Attacking goals on a daily basis is extremely important. Just like, if you were a basketball player trying to attack the basket, or you're a football player trying to rush the quarterback. You have to have that same mentality when it comes to attacking something you say you believe in. How you want to do a party, you don't promote it. How do you want to sell cookies and you're not in the kitchen baking different batches and trying out different things? How do you want to get people to come together and believe in you, but you don't believe in yourself? You know what I mean? You can't lead a group of people if you're somebody that doesn't believe in themselves. And my final 2 points in regards to building, and I think a lot of people make this mistake, like not investing in their identity. Who are you as a person? Are you a part of any social networks? Do people know you? Do people respect you? Are you sowing any seeds into anybody else? That's a big question. Because if you're not supporting other people that have important things going on, they're not going to support you. If nobody knows or sees you putting in the groundwork, following great leaders, how do you feel like you can just come out of nowhere, go into somebody else's city or territory and say, hey, look, I'm going to do a Juneteenth event too. I know Trevor does Jubilee, but you know what? I can do it bigger. But nobody knows who you are. Where's your network? Where's your supporting cast? And understanding your target audience, understanding your purpose. So if you're somebody that has a passion into getting into event planning, you need to start fine tuning your professionalism, join somebody's nonprofit, start doing some great seed work so that you become somebody that can rub elbows with somebody that's a somebody. And I thoroughly believe I've done 20 years where I paid my dues in the state of Connecticut, and there's nothing I feel like I can't do in regards to event planning, marketing, promotions, and being a part of any executive board. You know, I've held every major position on an executive board you could think of, from the secretary to the treasurer to the vice presidents, all the way to the president, the event planner, the correspondence secretary, you name it, the parliamentarian. I can teach everything about every last one of those positions, which is why I can build a team to help me push a narrative and an agenda. Or I could say, hey guys, meet me here, and people are going to come. I'm throwing a random tattoo party with 10 days of promotion. I sold out in a day. Supporting Black business and Black artists. I put the information out and I sold out in a day, because people know what I do. People believe in what I can do. And, you know, it's a product that I know there's an audience for, a media audience. So I speak very confidently about myself and my abilities, and I want you to as well. So take these bullet points and really grow on it. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your event. So you need to make sure you're investing in yourself, you're investing in your plan, and you're investing in the people. Because ultimately, there's power in the people. Where there's people, there's power. Chairman Fred, any questions?
All right, so we got two in the chat before I hop on with you. First one is, do you think it's important to reproduce other leaders who can go further than you?
That is an amazing question, because that's actually my personal mission statement this year. I remember I put it on Facebook not too long ago. If you always have to be present to execute your vision, nobody's following you. And what I mean by that is, if you have a group of people who can do what you do when you're not around, can you take a day off? Because if you're the leader of something and you're trying to push an agenda and there's nobody that can duplicate, if there's nobody that can do Jubilee but me, I failed as a leader. And the event didn't speak to anybody else but me. So if I'm trying to create a vision or a product or something like that, if something happens to me, can it go on? Perfect example. The founder of Apple, man, done gone up to glory, but that ain't stopped the product. The product is still the product. Ford is still Ford. All these successful people that, whether I have transitioned or in a different business, that brand is still that brand, right? So a good leader begots good leadership. You have to be able to teach people the vision so that it becomes better.
Next question from the chat. Was there a time that you had to pivot unexpectedly at an event you planned?
Absolutely, all the time.
You too.
Because the worst things that will happen will happen. And you have to be prepared to always be professional and to have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, just so that you can make sure you're still delivering on what you said you were going to do. I remember one time I had an outdoor event and the tent blew away and broke in the middle of the street. And I needed that tent for a VIP section. What do you do in that situation? You can't panic. You got to figure it out. You know, there's times when weather doesn't cooperate, right? When I was doing a boat party one time, we had a line of about 150 people. We didn't check any tickets or not. We're still trying to get people in. All of a sudden, the sky opened up and just crashed, and buckets of water pouring down on people. So now what do you do? Do you stand there and get people drenched, or you let everybody on the boat and figure out who has a ticket later? So yeah, let everybody on the boat. We will figure this thing out and we'll make it as smooth as possible so our customers are walking away happy. We're not taking a financial loss. I'm pretty sure there's some people that snuck on because they didn't. But you know, you live with the loss, and you just make sure people have a good time. Yes, there's been plenty of times in events you have to pivot, but you have to be prepared for that, and you have to have a solid team to be in place to troubleshoot certain things. You know what I mean? In the junior Warhawks, you know, hear me talk about that quite a bit. We have a grievance committee, so when something happens, we take it to the grievance person, we assess it, we figure it out, and then we go back to the drawing board and we address any issues.
So, those that joined us tonight, thank you, Trevor, for that presentation. At this segment, those are brand new. This is when I hop back on with our guests and ask us a couple questions to them. So, my first question: what is your most successful event that you've had so far?
Ooh, success is extremely subjective. Um, So I will say anytime that I have had a hand in servicing people, to me, that is success. So whether it's dealing with homeless, whether it's dealing with um, inner city youth, I think to me, helping people makes the most sense to me. I don't care how much money I make. I think anytime I organize an activity. I'll give you an example. So one thing my company used to do is I used to just randomly drop off toys to the children's hospital, not just during Christmas, but times where you just least suspect it. You know, you do a random toy drive, and then, you know, I'm walking in a Hartford hospital with two big duffel bags and dropping them off to children that have cancer. You know, stuff like
Mm.
that is extremely rewarding. Because I know the work I do is always going to come back tenfold. If you sow the seed, God will bless you. People will believe in you, and it's just always going to come back. Um, you know, if we're talking dollars and cents,
We can
I,
talk dollars and cents if you like.
I,
You know, it's
I
up to you.
honestly feel like um, oh man, I think Jubilee is it. I think that was probably my grandest event idea that speaks to the hearts of the people at the time where we were on a low. You know, COVID was a real thing. Outside was legit closed, and we needed to do something to generate income for our scholarship and community initiatives. And I've always felt like Jubilee was that unspoken holiday that we never really tapped into and never really took advantage of. But as the economy shifted and politics got it, you know, politics were what they were. The George Floyd situation happened, COVID happened. I looked at Jubilee as an opportunity for us to generate income and to unite, you know, people of color, all different professional backgrounds, ethnicities to come out and just have a good time. We went from 200 people the first year. Because again, it takes time to build, right? I have a grand idea, but it's not going to come out first like that. You shoot for the moon, but you end up with that. Okay, cool. We live with it. Next year, but we're going to do this and we're going to change the location. And boom, next year we had 300 something people. Okay, you see the vision is growing. And we had the after party. The first year we didn't have the after party. We need to have an after party because it's just boom, boom, boom. Now, okay, the next year happens. Now we doubled the numbers. We had 800 people here last year.
Wow.
Okay, we need two after parties. So this year, you know, even though I retired last year in my head, I'm not doing events no more. I said, I woke up one morning, I was like, yo, no, I got a better idea for Jubilee. We're gonna have two after parties because, you know, black folks, we invented rhythm and blues. And I don't think we gave R&B its just due. So we're gonna have an R&B party, we're gonna have a West Indian party, we're gonna have a hip hop party, and we're gonna have something that everybody can celebrate and nobody has to go home. So if you're with your significant other and you want to sit down and vibe to some R&B, you can do that. If you're really still fired up and you want to dance and do a little bit more, have more of a celebratory experience. Hartford is like one of the West Indian capitals of the country. Our people love dance hall and 90s reggae and Afro beat. So you'll be able to do that at the Russell. The day party is just a whole vibe, right? 20, 30 black owned businesses vending in front of 700 plus people coming out, having a good time, rocking out with a DJ, giving an opportunity to celebrate with your organization, the different political groups and different sororities, fraternities, professional networks are all going to be there. And I think this idea it's going to continue to be revolutionized, and it's just going to get better and better, and more people are going to believe in it to the point where we're going to have to move it to the Bushnell. That is the goal. That
That's
is
cool.
what
Okay.
I see in the future, to the point where we're downtown at the Bushnell on the green, and we're just having a great time. We're bringing in Erica Badu, and we're bringing in, Tariq Trotter, if you know who that is, Black Thought, and all some big time artists. I think we're ready for that. I think Connecticut is ready for that. I believe in it, and there's millions of people that will be like, yeah, no, not Connecticut, right? We got to go to Philly for that. We can do that in New York. We got to go to DC, or we go to Atlanta. No, 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 no. We can do that right here. I thoroughly believe that. Like, I'm blue in the face, but there's a process. And I think we will absolutely get there. I think Jubilee was one of my grandest ideas, but I don't think it's the most significant when it comes to like hitting home for me. You know, and I've had millions of ideas. So.
So you mentioned that you have millions of ideas. Any entrepreneur knows that you wake up every morning with a brand new idea. How do you sift through and decide what's a good idea you want to pursue for an event, and what you need to put to the wayside, what you put to the trash?
Great
Strategy.
question. Going back to writing, right? There were ideas that I never implemented until recently, because I wrote the idea, but I never executed because it wasn't the right time. Anytime I'm a visionary, all right. So I see things two different ways. One, I'm a dreamer. So when I just said dream the idea and manifest it, I'm not joking. Like I dream a lot about different things. My commute to work, I'm driving into the sun rising, and I'm literally in a trance thinking about what it is I'm trying to execute. And as the sun is rising, the spiritual sense of event planning and where I pull my ideas is coming to me. And I'm not in position to write anything. So I have to get to a computer as soon as possible, write my ideas down, and then I recycle it for later. And when that opportunity happens, and when it's time to implement something, I already have, hey, this idea, we can do this now because now is the perfect time. That happened with intellectual foreplay. That's something that I wanted to do for a while, but I didn't necessarily have specific platforms. You participated with intellectual foreplay with me a couple times, right? So there were times when, okay, Q, I have this idea, I want to do this, but it's like, nah, I think we should do it this way. And then we won't do anything at all because it wasn't the right time until we found the right place, the right venue, and the right opportunity to record different things. And we have the right speakers. And okay, boom, let's do it. We're gonna do it now. So I always have um, ideas that I write down and I save them for later. So there's never a dull moment to open up that book or your laptop and just say, hey, look, boom, I want to jot this idea down. It came to me, and it's gonna happen one day. It might not be today, but you just build on it once you get to the right space.
Listen, you got someone in the chat. I think you know who it is telling you to write that book, write that book. So
Is that my mom?
that is your mother. Yeah, I mean, if your mother said you got to do it, you got to do it. You got to write
Yeah,
that.
my mom is an author herself, author of, I want to say, 3 books. I could be wrong. 3. Don't forget to say your prayers. My mom specializes in talking people through trauma of loss, um, talking to widows and people that have dealt with death and everything. So the book I was writing was called A Black Man's Tears. Right. I started that book 10 years ago. I started that book.
Mm.
And I lost it when I was moving. Um, but if you know anything about my story, 10 years ago, I was in a mourning space and I was navigating loss. I was navigating the death of my sister and my dad. I was navigating being a new father, a new husband, in a very dark, spiritually sunken place. So I took to what I knew best. I was writing. and I was writing, I was writing, I was writing, and one day I got to a space um, in my poetry and in my writing where I just hit a wall, and I said, "There's a certain space I don't want to go to right now." And that writer's block hit, and then I just kind of threw the book away because it made me feel a certain way. I
Mm,
found it recently. I found it a
okay.
couple months ago because I ended up finding my jump drive. And there it was. It was staring at me, and it came at a time where I am in a different space where I could possibly finish it. So again, it's just one of those situations where you're writing, but now it spins the block 10 years later, and the material is still good, and the material still is relevant, and it can help somebody. And I could take how I've overcome certain feelings, um, and I could go from the start and give a conclusion. So I gave you the bars in the beginning. I didn't have a conclusion because I was still stuck. I didn't have nothing to tell people on how to overcome, but now I do. So, it's something that I definitely want to accomplish. And I also feel like the event planning piece, not to be cliche, because there's a million books on how to write the perfect event and organize and blah, blah, blah. I want to give it a different feel. So that is also something I'm exploring. And I have began, I've created a shell for it. But I just think more conversations like this is very helpful. I think we have a book here in this tutorial. I just need to script out. So
I was just about to say you started scripting a book right here live on this show.
yeah,
And
man, I appreciate this platform, and it's a good job, man. Good
listen, I
job.
appreciate it. And I got one more question before we wrap. So you
Yeah.
talked a lot about building a team. If I'm just starting my first event, what are the essential parts or the essential people that I need as part of my team?
Marketing and promotions,
Marketing, promotion,
a budget,
budget.
and you have to have I said marketing and promotions, the budget, and you have to have somebody that can help you promote as far as like a visible person, like somebody that can co-sign it and you know be a host or be somebody that is not doing the marketing and promoting,
Yeah.
but the promotional piece, the host, the promoter, the
So that's
marketing and
marketing.
promotion. Yeah,
Yep.
the
Say more.
marketing and promotions piece is important by somebody that can break it down through the social media stuff and do all the analytical work. But you have to have somebody that is coming, people are coming to see. You know what I mean? So, if Trevor is trying to partner with somebody to help them launch a product, I know I can get people to come out. People might not know you, but they know me. So if somebody's on, my team in regards to something that might not necessarily be inspired by me, but they want to collab with me, I can physically push that to the public
Okay.
personally to get people to come in. You know what I mean? And there's
Okay.
people like yourself behind the scenes that people don't know your face, but they know you can click buttons and they know you can send emails and they know you know how to set up a website and they know social media, that type of stuff. I don't know. I'm not good at that type of stuff. That's why I call you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that healthy combination um, is extremely important. The money, the promotion, and the person.
All right, I lied. I got one more question.
Mhm.
So you've been event planning, doing events for 20 years. What type of legacy do you want to live or leave with your event planning? What's your legacy? What's your grant? I know you talked about Jubilee. I know you talked about your faith. So what is your legacy of Trevor Ford going to be when it comes to events? Because you put a lot of different events out there. Some people on here that have attended. Some people have never heard of the events, but I'm pretty sure once you start talking about the new one you got coming up, that might be interested. So at the end of the day, what's the legacy? Because I know you talk that Jay-Z, I'm going to retire, and I hear that every year out of you. But then it's a, hey Q, I got another event. I need your help. So what do you want your legacy to be?
I think I have my legacy, my children. I want my children to be able to see um, relentless, fearless success and accomplishments. So, having daughters is one thing, having a son is another. And I wake up every day with an obstacle in my face and I ask myself, what do I tell my son about dealing with racism? What do I tell my son about dealing with sexism? What do I tell my son about making money, having the ability to use his hands? What do I tell my son about taking care of a woman? What do I tell my son about raising children? What do I tell my son about God? What do I tell my son when there's an obstacle in his way and he has to take the sacrifice for the sake of the community? What do I tell my son his responsibility is when faced with adversity? To lay down and wait for somebody else to do it for you, or to get up off your behind, use your hands for the sake of your woman and your family and your community, go do something about it and create the opportunity. That's the legacy I want to leave. I don't want my children to see a sucker. You know what I mean? I don't want my children to see, a man that looks to everybody else to do something. I always want to be able to create that resource, whether people believe it or not. They're going to see their father stand before people and tell them where they should be, why they should be there, why it's important to serve. And as long as I'm serving, I think the good Lord will be smiling on me on my day of judgment. And I think there's nothing more uh, special to me knowing that I have a home that is not of this world, and my children um, carry and continue the mission of what they've seen before them. So my children will never be able to say, my dad was a sucker. He never taught me this, and I don't know. Well, they ain't gonna get that from me. So whatever foolishness they end up doing at 18, 19, 20, they ain't get that from me. So, I'm not in it for people to say Trev did this or started this, or, for them to remember me at all. All I care about is the good Lord smiling, saying, "Good work, my son," and my children um, always keeping the people aware of who their father was through their works. You know what I mean? So that's my answer.
Listen, I love it. Legacy, legacy, legacy. That's what we're here to leave. So before we wrap on our show, The Business Blueprint, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
I am very accessible via email, ignite enterprise number 2 at gmail.com. On social media, you can find me on my Instagram, ignite_TJF. Um, my photography page, I did not mention I do photography. I apologize. I am I continue to call myself an aspiring photographer because there's just way too many bomb photographers in Connecticut. But ignite.images, excuse me, is my social media photography page. Portraits, I do weddings, I do events, keyword events. Um, the reason why I started photography is because I got tired of paying event photographers to do something that I feel like I could do.
So you became part of your own team.
I became a part of my own mission. But now I'm at the point where you know what, I'm hiring photographers because building that team, get somebody else to do the work so that all you're worried about is executing the mission, instead of doing all the heavy lifting. So yeah.
Listen, that's where they could find you. Now tell us about the event. So some people have never heard about Jubilee. So
Some
break
people never heard about Jubilee.
let
Wow.
us know. Let us know what Jubilee, because there's a lot of people. Once you hear about this event, I've gone. I'm a sponsor. I'm not just a participant. I go there to try and enjoy myself, and then Trevor's dragging me around to move and do different things. So tell everybody about the Jubilee you got coming up. Give us the date, the information, the details.
Yes, yes. Jubilee, the official Juneteenth block party celebration is going down downtown Hartford, 187 Allen Street, right in front of the Russell, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. We have 3 DJs. Hot 93.7 will be present. DJ Craig G, DJ Big Man. We got DJ Monster P. And we're gonna have some live entertainment. If you like music and bands and R&B, we got Simone Monet in the unit, Mr. Quest out in Hartford are going to be down there. We got DJ LC, the singing DJ. She hosts a lot of karaoke nights in the city of Hartford at One Bar and Kitchen, brand new restaurant downtown Hartford. Tremendous atmosphere. We're going to make that our Love Jones Cafe. DJ Monster P and the Reggae Zone is going to be spinning at the Russell for that West Indian after party. We're going to have over 20 Black business vendors, so we have people selling product and getting to know their community intimately through business. We're going to have food trucks. Yes, we are going to have a vegan option when it comes to the food trucks. So, I've heard the roars of the city, and I'm providing opportunities so that people can explore their vegan palates. We're going to have a couple other local vendors in regards to our cigar lounge. There's VIP available both inside and outside. It is a total experience. The Divine Nine will be there. Black sponsors will be there, businesses. If you've not heard of Jubilee, shame on you, but shame on me because I'm the promoter and I have to do better. But come on down to Jubilee, Juneteenth, June 15th, this year, 5 o'clock, downtown Hartford. You don't want to miss it.
Listen, I love the commercial. So I could say something cliche like be there, be square, but definitely come out and check it out. It's definitely an event. Those that are, if you miss any of the information, it'll be there in the playback when I release the episode this week. And then Trev, I want to personally thank you because for those, we are in the Nothing But Web Entrepreneur Network. So another place you can find them is also on the network. Let me share my screen. So all you have to do is go to www.nothingbutwebllc.com and just join, sign up, get a complimentary membership. So I'm gonna scroll all the way down just to prove a point. So I told Trevor initially, hey, this is my idea. As you can see, he's a VIP member, and he was one of the first people to sign up. First people to sign up, no questions asked. I just said, hey, I have a vision. Not similar to an event, but I have a vision. This is what I want to do. I sent him a link. He said, all right, signed up. What do you want me to do? And he did it. So as you can see, we continue to grow this network. So if you ever wanted to get a hold of him personally, all you have to do is scroll down to Ignite right here. You can send him a direct message. If email is not your thing, you just want to send him a message, become a member, network with him. And hey, behind the scenes, a lot of people have put together different events from contacting Trevor right here. So just had to do my plug real quick for the network for everything. But before we wrap, anyone with any questions, and we have them here. It's a special night for us tonight. Before we leave, please show your love in the chat for Trevor. As I told everybody, I asked them to come to the network, do a show. Trev, I asked you for 15 minutes, right? You said, hey, I can give you 15. Look at the time. I told you you're going to do it because I always find people that are passionate about what they do, and I want to deliver them, my super friends, to you. So everyone have a great night. This is the Business Blueprint. Tune in the third Wednesday of every month for our live show, and weekly we have a separate show from Idea to Impact that comes on the network every Wednesday as well. But if you want to see a live and personal, you can actually reach out, ask questions. The Business Blueprint is a show for you. So everyone have a great night. Thank you for coming tonight. Trevor, I appreciate you. I appreciate Ignite. And as he said, life is about legacy. So how are you going to make yours, and what are you going to leave for your kids, for your family?
Perfect.